Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to NAUI's Dive Team Report. I'm your host, Greg Martin. One thing that we've not talked an awful lot about here on the NAUI Dive Team Report are those that have served and that have served us well. And there's a lot of different programs out there available for veterans, wounded warriors, that kind of thing. And I'm extraordinarily supportive of that. I'm ex-military, so I have the utmost respect for those kind of people. We're talking today with Josh Grzywa, who is the president and director of veteran outreach for Deep Sea Valkyries. Josh, explain what Deep Sea Valkyries is.
At our heart, Deep Sea Valkyries is a counseling program offered for veterans. Our broad scope or our mission is to enhance the lives of veterans through the treatment of post-traumatic stress, while simultaneously introducing them to healthy, recreational, marine-based activities, particularly scuba diving, snorkeling, and then we do some exploring of some remote islands throughout the Bahamas. Our program tries to take a holistic approach to healing, where our participants conduct week-long voyages. And during this time, they do more than 20 hours of both group and individual counseling sessions. And these are coupled with these guided sea adventures and daily spiritual devotions. And so when we say holistic, our three pillars are the mind, the body, and the soul. And we feel that for our veterans who have experienced trauma, each of these concepts of the individual are not exclusive of one another, but mutually inclusive. And so we attempt to address healing and recovery from trauma through each of those pillars.
You know, just the thought of military service for a lot of people seems to be its own trauma. Those of us that have, even gone through, basic boot camp, there's a trauma about that because it's so much different than, what you'd call a normal life. But when you go beyond that and you get into actual military service and you get into deployments and so forth, we used to call it shell shock and we didn't understand
right.
it. And now, there's a real name, and PTSD is a real thing. How does scuba diving help in this manner?
Well, scuba diving is therapeutic in so many different ways. It became my therapy after I was wounded. I was injured in a mortar attack in Baghdad back in 2006. And after my injury, after numerous back surgeries, my doctor said, okay, no more of the fun stuff you used to enjoy like skydiving and rock climbing. And he told me I needed to get in the water. And so that's how I kind of progressed into scuba diving. But for many of our participants, they have the physical injuries such as amputations, severe scarring. And so they're able to experience that weightlessness. The other aspect that we talk about is for many veterans, when we bring them back together, they're for the first time in years reintegrated with other veterans that are going through some of those same struggles. And when you get them into the environment of diving, where they're now relying on another one of their buddies again, where they're required to check their equipment again and kind of go through those same familiar procedures that they were used to doing in the military, it can be comforting. And then the last thing that we talk about, and this is very important. I think every diver, they recognize, when you drop below the surface, you're in a whole new world, and we get to see things that not many people on Earth get to experience. And so when we talk about it, these veterans, when they go on these deployments or humanitarian aid missions, sometimes disaster relief missions, they experience the absolute worst in humanity. And they see some of the ugliest things that this world has to offer. So when we take them on these retreats and when they get to go scuba diving, we like to say we reintroduce the beauty to the veteran, both the beauty of the world above the surface and what they get to discover below the surface.
The diving world, the undersea world, I always say when I'm instructing students, it's a no-limit world. I mean, you can pretty much do anything. We've experienced many times, as you talked about, amputees and people that have no motion, in the rest of their, no movement in the parts of the body. There are no limits when it comes to diving.
Absolutely. And we've had many of our participants come back and say, for the first time, they have felt reinvigorated. They feel like they have found purpose in their life, and they've said that we've often give them a new outlet or a new way to express themselves, a new way to live, and that's really at the crux of our program. It's providing a new outlet for many of these veterans. They were those type of individuals that were out riding motorcycles, or they were out skydiving, and most people in the military have that A-type personality where they like adventure, they like exploring, they like doing and experiencing new things in life. And so we take both brand new divers in our program as well as those that are already certified. So we get a healthy range of experience, but everyone has said that after a week with us, they see things that they've never seen before. They get to experience diving they'd ever experienced before. So we're excited, and we know we're doing really great things for these veterans.
Well, that's incredible, and commendations to you guys for jumping into this. Talk a little bit about, I guess the way the program works. A veteran comes up and says, I'm having issues. What about your program? How do they get involved in it?
Sure. One of the first things that we tell veterans is, our program isn't for every veteran. There's a myriad of different nonprofits that exist that try to address the different issues that veterans are facing in their day-to-day lives. So if we have a veteran that is a quadriplegic, completely paralyzed from the neck down, we don't have those assets to support them. For us, we try to be as transparent as possible to, make sure that the veterans we are taking are the ones that we can really make a difference in their life and we can assist. As long as they meet the basic requirements so that we can safely assist them, there's an application process, and that application window opens September 1st of each year, and it runs through the end of November. And so there's about 3 months where individuals can apply online, and we say the hardest part of our application is we ask them to write a statement on why they feel that they should participate in our program. Our program is completely free for the participants. We tell them there's no cost to the individual veteran other than their time, and we ask that they enter into the program with an open mind and the willingness to participate to the fullest extent possible. Once all the applications are compiled, they go to a selection committee that's completely independent from our primary staff, and that's just because I know a lot of veterans that have applied, and we don't want there to be any perception of favoritism happening. So an individual selection committee reviews their statements, and that's what we provide, or that's what we place the most amount of weight on. And the statements are reviewed, and then they're basically rank ordered, and then we notify those that are selected that they'll be attending the following summer's retreat. So right now our selection committee is going through several hundred applications, and they'll be complete by Saturday at midnight. And so the first week in February, we'll start the notification process for those veterans that'll be attending our retreat in August of this upcoming summer.
Expectations of growing the operation, expanding?
Absolutely. As like any other nonprofit, our growth and our capabilities is dependent upon the financial support from donors. We do have a 15-year strategic plan, and we have a wonderful individual from Nine Oars, Dan, that's been working with us and kind of advising us in the process. Our first retreat, our first year, we only held one retreat, and it was more of a proof of concept, and it went over so well. We were just blown away by the results of it. This year, we're doing 2 retreats back to back. We expect to serve 40 veterans over that 2-week period. And then as each year continues, we're going to grow the number of retreats. Our ultimate goal is over a 10-week period to host upwards of 20 veterans each week. So we're talking about impacting not just 200 veterans over the course of a summer, but when you look at the second and third order effects of what our program does, we're not talking about just 200 veterans, but these are 200 families that are now going to have their lives changed and enhanced. These are 200 communities, 200 jobs, 200 different businesses that are going to gain even more productive veterans. And at the end of the day, we're trying to reduce veteran suicide attempts, and those veterans that are feel that they are committed to remaining on some sort of prescription medication, or feel that they need to turn to drugs to deal with their problems and to cope with the struggles that they're facing.
Mind, body, soul. I love the pretext of this. I love everything about it, and I'm going to urge everybody to get involved in whatever manner you can. Check out the website again, deepseavalkyries.com. If you have to Google how to spell Valkyries, VALKYRIES.com. Are you looking for, I'm assuming, as you mentioned, you're a 501c3, so you're looking for donations of money and time?
Absolutely. So when we go to presentations with different organizations, we talk about the whole concept of, time, talent, and treasure. This past year, Nisa, my director of business operations, she coordinated with NAUI shops across the country to help assist in preparing our veterans to go on this retreat. And she did an amazing job. And to the NAUI shops out there, if you're listening, kudos to you. We had 9 veterans that had never dove before, and these shops donated their confined water training as well as all the academics prior to them conducting their open water dives. So a big round of applause to them. If you were one of those shops, again, we are indebted to you, and those veterans are indebted to you. And then we also had a shop that did a refresher for 2 veterans that hadn't dove in about 5 or 6 years. And so, donating that time and the talent to those shops, that's absolutely huge. Obviously, the financial support is huge, because that allows us to get after all the ancillary stuff. Like I said, these retreats are free for these veterans, and rightfully so. Many of them are in financial hardships, or they're in positions where they don't necessarily have the disposable income to embark on a week-long retreat, but it's absolutely necessary for their mental health. So, many individuals have donated. Corporations like to get involved and become actual corporate sponsors, and then based on levels of support, we have different ways to reciprocate in what they're donating. So yes, we ask, please take a look. If people want to get involved, we ask them to email us. All the contact information is on the website. It's not just helping that individual veteran, but the experience they have, it propagates into their families, the local communities. And so it's, for those that aren't serving now, it's a way to help those that have served and to help really your country out.
Awesome, Josh. Can't thank you guys enough for your dedication, and thank you for your service and sacrifice. Appreciate that very, very much. And to all you NAUI shops as well, big kudos to you again. Echoing what Josh says, I find that time and time again with NAUI shops that they get involved, they're dedicated to it, and greatly appreciate that. Again, Deep Sea Valkyries, go to deepseavalkyries.com. Josh, thank you so much for your time today, and best with the program. We probably should come back and check with you here in another few months and see how things are going.
Absolutely, Greg, and I know we'll have an article coming up in Sources as well that kind of highlights some of the background of our program, what the absolutely sobering statistics are on veteran suicide. So keep an eye out in Sources, and then we've been asked to be a contributor to Sources, so you'll kind of see a little bit more about our program, what we're doing, and the lives we're changing.
Sounds wonderful, Josh. Thanks for your time this morning.
All right, Greg, thanks. You guys have a wonderful day, all right?
All right, thank you so much. And again, if you would like to get involved, be sure and check out NAUI.org, NAUI.org, or deepseavalkyries.com. Be sure and check it out in the latest Sources magazine if you are a NAUI member. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of NAUI's Dive Team Report. You have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see you underwater.